Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The teams selected themselves are made. Do you remember when you were a child, maybe, I don't know, playing soccer or being with your friends in the neighborhood, in a schoolyard, and someone had a ball and we want to play soccer, football. And we pick teams based on friendship, usually. The guys in the neighborhood here with the guys in the other neighborhood over there, or sometimes the best ones will pick teams. So I say first, I get this one, he's gonna pick the other one, and then you make the teams. The global teams are already made. I will show you what are the teams. In one is the United States of America, Al Capone with its plantation, the slaves, the plantation slaves, and the house servant, which is Great Britain. On the other side are the BRICS countries, minus South Africa, and I'm going to show you the relationship between them. Why? Because the United States of America wants to strike Venezuela's military bases inside a sovereign, independent country. But the Americans like the rule of law, and they like a rules-based world order, and they love international law when they use it against others. When they have to follow it, they just violate it left and right. So, I'm going to show you the report coming from New York Post, which actually was prepared by someone else, who claims that the Americans are prepared to strike Venezuelan military bases. And Venezuela asks Russia for help. Russia enters another partnership with China, with India. India those relationships with China, and we'll see what's going on. So let's start with the first article that triggered this video actually. New York Post, United States of America prepared to strike Venezuelan military bases as Trump ramps up pressure on dictator Maduro. Now, Trump is not a dictator, but Maduro is. Why is Trump not a dictator and Maduro is a dictator? I tell you what you need to think, or how you need to think about the issue, how the media wants you to think. Trump was elected in an open and fair election by the greatest country in the world and the smartest people on this planet, the most educated. Therefore, there was no violation, and this is democracy. This is what they tell us. Now, Venezuela also held elections, but no. Those elections were rigged. Maduro fixed the elections. He is a dictator. And those Venezuelans, they don't know what they're talking about, but obviously some of them voted for Maduro. Therefore, we, the enlightened people of the West, need to bring freedom and democracy to Venezuela exactly as they brought to Iraq, or Afghanistan, or maybe Libya, or maybe Syria. I can go on and on. A lot of democracy. Got that? So this is what we need to think about it. And Donald Trump, our elected official, our leader, we're told, commander-in-chief, not public servant. No, don't use those words. Public servant. That's what his title is. He's a public servant. He serves us, the public. But no, they use the name leader, commander-in-chief, dictator. No, because he was elected in a fair and honest and direct election, my friends. Okay, got it? So, let me show you a little bit what's going on over here. The interests Trump serves as their tool want Venezuela's oil. We all know this. The imbeciles, the feeble-minded strata of the society, any society, we have them in abundance, as a majority actually. They need to know that Donald Trump, the leader, the commander-in-chief, the daddy, will protect them against the invasion of drugs coming from Venezuela, from Venezuelan government. And that's it. If Venezuela didn't have oil, we wouldn't hear about Venezuela. Maybe a little bit of a dancing, fucking, and other things, but nothing else. Got it? Maybe the soccer team as well with Valderrama and so on. No, Valderrama is Colombia. What am I talking about? Anyway, so here it is. U.S. prepared to strike Venezuela military bases. We go with the military bases as Trump ramps up pressure on dictator Maduro. And here we have a little bit. The US is prepared to launch strikes on Venezuela military bases. That's illegal. That's a declaration of war. And if the US can do this, the Russians also can do whatever they feel like. As President Donald Trump wraps up the pressure. You see, this is a pressure. It's a pressure on the country's narco-terrorist dictator. Who the fuck are these New York Post? Now this is media for you. Nicolas Maduro, as the administration works to cut off the regime's drug and criminal operations. The Post has learned. Got it? So we have the narco-terrorist dictator and we have the fantastic President Trump. Is this the way things work? Well, if it works like this, then remember, Russia can, let's say, designate Trump as a terrorist for, let's say, striking Iran. Okay? He didn't have the... first, when can you strike another country? When is an imminent danger? Or by the United Nations mandate. That's all. When you are, oh my God, they are attacking us, we have to react, which is not the case in America and Iran. And the other one, if United Nations give you a mandate to change something over there. Anything other than that, it's violation of international law. That means you're a criminal. So that's terrorism. So if the Russians, let's say, designate Trump as a terrorist and the US administration as a terrorist state, they can strike the White House. Can they? I mean, by the same logic, yes. Now, if you turn into, they wouldn't dare, you already roast the argument. You already hero the argument. You know what I mean? Yes, because you're not talking about being just, but being strong. And law, I thought in front of the law, we're all equal. Regardless how smart we are, the big balls we got, and so on. So that's the first one. The second one. Remember, the key word here is pressure. Pressure. Is it pressure? So this is a euphemism for violating someone else's, how should I put it, right to exist. All right? That's what it is, pressure. So he is going to sexually abuse her by putting pressure on her. He didn't do that. He just put pressure on her. You know what I mean? This is the euphemism. This is what these guys are telling us. Washington Post. These are the guys who started first the whole garbage right there. The Washington Post. The US ramps up the pressure. Only the US can pressure everybody else. All right? So what's going on? The same thing. In a letter meant for the eyes of Russia's leader, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro made multiple requests this month. US President Donald Trump's administrations were targeting ships off the South American coast and rattling sabers in Washington. Venezuela needed President Vladimir Putin's help. So, Venezuela pleads with Moscow for help. Right there. So, now we know the other side, the other club. Could Russia do anything about it? Well, could and could not. I read an article, actually a piece of news, I don't know if that was, I couldn't verify it. So I'm just mentioning for you maybe to go deeper into the issue. Where supposedly a Russian military plane landed in Caracas, Venezuela. That was about 3 days ago or 4 days ago. I do not know if that's true. But with a military plane, you don't do much. You know what I mean? You need a few vessels, a few dozens of airplanes, about 3,000 good military, not the guys that you grab from the street like the Ukrainians do in Kiev and so on. So, he pleaded for Putin's help. Putin cannot help them, including China. Why? They're too far away. Here, next one. White House response to reports of Trump preparing to hit military targets inside Venezuela. They are using the same, what the hell is going on here? The same mountain slope model. They started first the war on drugs, general. Then they said, well, Venezuela has a problem, might, protect terrorists and narco-terrorists. Then they said, we're going to stop them, and we're going to stop them right there. We're going to strike some boats without due process, because that's what we do in America. We shoot and then we ask questions. The government, it seems like, yes? All right, those people, regardless who they were, they had human rights as well, don't they? Nevertheless, they designated them as terrorists, whatever they designated, we are at war with them, and we designated, if I want to take your house, and I'm stronger than you, I will designate you as something bad. And in the name of my own designation of you, I will take it. I will attack you. Is that how the way it works? I remember when it was a joke in Romania when I was much, much younger. It goes like this. It was the bear, and the bear wanted to, that's the way to punch the rabbit. And the rabbit was sneaky. And the bear came and said, hey, before he asked the rabbit, he wanted to punch him, he beat him up. That was the goal. But he wanted a little reason for everybody else to see. So he came and said, in his brain, said, I'm going to ask the rabbit, hey, do you have a cigarette? That's a trick question. And if the rabbit says, well, he gives me filtered cigarette, I will say, I'm going to beat you up because you didn't give me non-filtered cigarette. And if he gives me a non-filtered cigarette, I'm going to beat him up because he didn't give me a filtered. So either way, I will pick it. So the bear says, I'm going to designate it. I'm going to do it one or the other. So he meets the rabbit and say, hey, rabbit. Yes, bear. Give me a cigarette. And the rabbit answers, with filter or without filter? You know what the bear did? Motherfucker, you sneaky again. Boom, boom, boom. So he beat him up because he designated the rabbit as sneaky. He found something to beat him up. So the rabbit jumped over the hoops. Which one you want? I got both. Oh my God, I have to beat this guy up. Forget about the pretense. You're sneaky again. Boom, boom, boom. That's how we do it with the Americans. They will find, oh, that's violation on that. That's a violation on that. And even if you prove it's not, they're going to find something else. Or your tone. Or you're the dictator. You're a narco-terrorist. They will attach a name, a negative connotation to you. That's it. So here, response, what did they say? Let's see what the Americans are saying. And they're lying. Why? Because it will happen. The White House pushed back on media reports suggesting that President Donald Trump administration had identified as was imminent, poised to strike military targets within Venezuela. First thing, you have to look at this. He says, imminently poised to strike. He's not imminently. He's going to do it, I don't know, in a week or two. It's not right now. It's not determined. But it will, he will. And he says pushed back. And this is what he says. Unnamed sources don't know what they're talking about. Now remember this White House spokeswoman, Anna Kelly. So Anna Kelly tells us the unnamed sources don't know what they're talking about. When it will happen, Anna Kelly should be fired for lying to us. But it won't, because she says that was the White House policy at that point. Why? Governments lie. And this one lies the most, it seems like. Next one. And in the meantime, while these guys are very much prepared to plunder the world's resources, this is what's going on right now. This is the age of dinosaurs, the age of, mollusks, or right now we have the age of mollusks, the ones without the backbone. The age of this and age of this, right now we have the age of plundering for resources. This is the plundering of resources age. The Americans want to do that. Why? Because they can. And they need them. Once you get the resources, you dictate to everybody else, because you can't fucking have a fire if I have the wood. Got it? Not that kind of wood. You understand what I'm saying? Of course you do. It's not a fucking rocket science here. So what's going on over here? Beijing expects China-Russia ties to further strengthen after Prime Minister Mishustin's visits. So the Russian guy went and met Mr. Xi Jinping, and they will go further strengthened. Next one. Russia says deepening ties with China despite tough global challenges. Next one. New Delhi and Moscow deepen military ties ahead of Putin's India visit. You understand? The two countries' militaries have held talks in the Indian capital to explore new areas for defense collaboration. Putin is going to visit New Delhi in December this year. Brazil seeking to build strategic alliance with India. And we're not over. Let me see if I got it right. And India and China resume direct flights after 5-year freeze and ties thaw. Got it? So what do we have so far? So far we have the Americans at the orders of the Middle Eastern bazaar people doing what they do best, follow orders and try to plunder right now. On the other hand, the other team, we have Russia, we have China, we have India so far, we have Brazil, we have Iran, we have North Korea, We might have Hungary, we might have Slovakia, we might have Turkey at one point, and many others. These are just the main guys. So what do you think? And what the other team has? The problem in the other team is only one. Maybe not the problem, but we like democracy. We like democracy, but somehow we have only one master America. And it's not the master America because someone else is in charge of America. That's the biggest problem. So it's a fight. What will happen in Venezuela? I think the Americans will strike Venezuela. I am 99% certain they will strike Venezuela. Military bases. Only military bases. And then they will destroy Maduro because he's the narco-terrorist. He's the garbage in chief. According to us, he's a dictator after all, and we decide what we do with dictators. And nobody else can call us, dictators or anything. No, because this is America, man. Living in America. Now go to work, shut the fuck up, get your boosters, and drive your car with a mask on. But this is America. Motherfuckers. And on the other hand, you have Russia, China, India, and the countries I said, which at least for now, they show an equality. An equal-based relationship. On the other hand, everybody is a plantation slave with a sugar cane, being over there and cutting sugar cane. In the house, there's the house servant, Great Britain, which is England. Sometimes bends over and gets it deep from the master. That's why it's right here. And then France from the plantation thinks he's sneaky. Hey, I'm gonna get the mail. And he goes to get the mail from the mailbox and brings it into the house to the house servant, England. And says, here's the mail, and tries to barge in to be also a household servant. But England says, no, you can't do this. No, why? Mais je suis bon. Fuck off, go over there and work. This is France. France is in between a sugarcane to a house servant, as England is. In charge is definitely the master who does whatever it wants. Al Capone, USA. And in charge of this is the divinity. Divinity that was promised a land in the Middle East. You understand that one? A long time ago. And only that divinity is true. Any other divinities of any other nations are not good. It's just a lie. Only that one is true. Only that one. And that divinity came and told that little fucking illiterate tribe, not even tribe, goat herders, illiterate, to do this and promise that. And they took over these imbeciles here. And now go to work, my friends, for these guys. So what do you think will happen? It's escalating, and unless they are going to set clear boundaries between them, they will hit one another in various areas. Nothing will happen in Venezuela. From the Russian side, they can't defend it. It's too hard. I don't think Russia has the potential. Or maybe it has the potential, bring a few nuclear weapons over there and that game over, fuck off. That's it. The Russians bring tomorrow, I don't know, a few... You don't even have to get some Kinzhals. You don't need to get Oreshniks with all the silos and all that. No, get some Kinzhals this big. With some MiG-31 K, I think it is, and you locate them out there, a few, like, let's say about 10 of them, with about 50 Kinzhals, not even 50, 20 Kinzhals, and tell the Americans, if you do it, we're gonna fuck you up. What do you think the Americans were gonna do? We were gonna do it? We're gonna get in a war, man. Not conventional war, nuclear war. You want that? I'm crazy. That could be solved. That's the only way it could be solved. With conventional, the Americans will win. Therefore, this is the only way. Bring nuclear weapons over there under your command. But that's not good either, because then you say Venezuela is not independent, it's not sovereign. But that's the way it is, my friends. It's like a neighborhood. It's like in Chicago in the 1920s and 30s. That's the way it was. This is my area of interest, this is yours, and it's always fight at the margin where they met. In this case, they are trying to define which is which. If the Americans take over Venezuela, they don't need Russia for a while. Because right now they try to get Russia's resources. That's the whole thing in Ukraine. But if they take Venezuela's oil, they're kind of set with that. Even though the other club will have an engine, which is wood for fire. And these guys want to take the fire from those guys. Like Prometheus got the fire from the gods and gave it to the baboons. Let's talk about our own myths and our mythology and our gods instead of those fucking cunts in them. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We even borrowed their fucking names, man. Isn't that crazy and stupid? Stay strong, stay smart, looking for the truth. Look for the truth and be just.